So moving on to some quality stuff here.
Doubleheader.
Stamp Day for Superman, 1954, black and white short film produced for the United States Department of the Treasury.
Where would they show this? Where did it screen?
Schools.
Okay. Well, they just sent them a VHS tape to play on their non-existent VCR?
I don't know how that worked.
Did it send on a film reel and they put a film
they
on?
did have film reels. Not many people would care, but we probably are the ones who would be interested to know, did this movie have a reputation? Was it in the libraries? I'm really interested in this U.S. savings bonds program now, because it's quite the scam to pull on children.
Well, I always got savings bonds for Christmas. It was
But
from
did you
my
get stamps?
grandparents. No, not the stamps. I never heard of the stamps, but the savings bonds were where the money was.
Yeah, so let me pull up the page. I gotta find the. Here we go. So, savings stamps. So, prior to savings stamps, you had just postal savings stamps. Those are from 1911. And they could be redeemed as credits to postal savings accounts. I don't know what that is, but that's what that was. And then you had more savings stamps from World War I to World War II, which were used to purchase Treasury war bonds and certificates. And I don't think those had interest. I think that was just to support Uncle Sam. And then from 1954, go ahead.
Well, is this the sort of thing that made people stamp collectors? This type of stuff?
That's a good question. And having never collected stamps, I'm not sure. I had the Elvis stamp back in the day. That was it. So from 1954 to 1970, you had savings stamps. And the post office department issued these to promote savings among school children. You could get them in denominations of 10 cents, 25 cents, 50 cents, $1, good grief, and $5.
Oh.
And then an album containing $18.75 in stamps, because you would lick them and stick them to the book.
That'd have been a lot of stamps back then.
Yeah, well, you could exchange a book or an album of $18.75 for a U.S. savings bond that had a face value of $25.
Okay.
So I would like to point out that in this movie, or this short film, Jimmy Olsen tells a story about how as a kid he used to collect savings stamps. And that's how he paid for his little cute radio or typewriter purse.
Typewriter.
Yeah. So the program started in 1954, which is when this film came out.
He really advanced on that cash in, didn't he?
Yeah. So that's pretty ballsy, even for the United States government in 1954, getting all these children to give their money away.
I wonder how many you'd need to buy a typewriter in 1954, 55.
Well, he's no longer in elementary school. So basically, he got those bonds worth $25 later on, all that crazy interest.
Okay.
And I don't know what a typewriter cost. I would imagine $25 might be about right.
Sounded like nobody else had one but Jimmy Olsen. You would have thought the Daily Planet would have a few. Lois has to borrow it, or she asked to borrow it at one point.
Yeah. Now, speaking of shows that have a lot of cast in it, this one has, I believe, 6 actors in the whole thing. Not quite right, but 6 main characters. You have George Reeves as Clark Kent, Superman. You got Noel Neal as Lois Lane. You got Jack Larson as Jimmy Olsen. You got John Hamilton as Perry White. You have Tris Coffin as Principal Garwood. And then there's actually a character not listed on this page I'm looking at. You have two thieves, 2 robbers.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of the first one.
Doesn't matter.
He has a conscience. Yeah. And then you got Billy Nelson as Blinky. I like
Blink. He is
what a name.
Interesting, isn't he? He is really disturbing, but he's charming, and that's what makes him disturbing, his politeness and charm.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, I don't know if he played Blinky all the time, but I recognize him. He was in multiple Adventures of Superman episodes. I don't know if he played the same character, but
he's the kind of person I think of when I think of the villains in this show. That type of guy.
Oh, yeah. And the show starts with Clark walking Lois home, and she keeps looking at all the windows of the stores of the cute puppy dogs and the jewelry and all that good stuff. And a robbery takes place while he's trying to get her to go home. One burglar gets away. One burglar, once the alarm goes off, freezes and realizes that he wished he had taken better care of his finances growing up so he didn't have to resort to crime.
Should have bought stamps instead of candy.
Yeah. And after that, I guess when the one guy's leaving, he bumps into Lois, so she knows what he looks like. And
he knows who she is, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that. Well, she wrote an article. She wrote an article the next day in the paper. And that's when we have a little infomercial for stamps, where Jimmy's telling Lois and Clark about how he saved up his stamps to buy his typewriter. And then Clark says, we should do a story about stamps. So they go to the local school to talk to the principal. And then Blinky calls Lois who's supposed to go meet them later, and says, I'm gonna turn myself in, but only if you
Well,
do
hold
it.
on now. She was scheduled to meet with the police chief.
Yeah. Yeah, she was looking through photos to see if she could ID the guy.
Right.
But then so she gets off the phone with Blinky, who says, meet me in 30 minutes at this place and come alone so I can give myself up to you. And she immediately calls the police and says, I'm going to be late. I got a big story. Because you're thinking she's going to call the cops.
She said she's going to bring him a surprise, which to me, this is a major missed opportunity for Lois Lane to formulate a plan B here. I don't question that she would go for the story, even at a risk to her own life, but she had an opportunity for plan B. Maybe plan C, maybe plan D. Like, this is where I am going. If I'm not there in X amount of minutes, the guy, blame Blinky or whatever. Well.
Yeah.
That's the way. That's government writing for you, I guess.
Hey, at least she owns up to it. But
she does.
So she gets a call from Blinky, talks to the police, gets caught by Blinky, and then she's like, "I'm an idiot."
Who would have thought? Yeah. Yeah, it's humorous to watch her reflect upon her decisions there. It's I like that. Might be my favorite part of it. Lois tied up, reflecting on her life choices.
Oh, Lois hanging out with Blinky is the best part of the show.
Teaching him the typewriter skills.
So he needs to write a letter, but his handwriting's horrible. So he asked her to teach him how to use the typewriter. So she types up this letter for his friends, and then she draws a picture with the typewriter using the characters.
It's
and
a
then
good
puts
picture.
The address. Yeah, he actually is pretty good. And then somehow it looks like handwritten an address. Hey, come save me, please. And she makes a paper airplane out of it. So that paper airplane gets to Perry White.
It talks about what floor of the building she's on somehow, right?
Yeah. It gives her location.
So it's funny because he wants to look close, and she says, it won't look right if you zoom in. You have to view it from a distance. And then he's like, let me try. She's like, okay. He's like, hey, what are you doing over there? She said, oh, I just want to fly my paper airplane. He's like, oh, it went out the window. It's good comedy. I like this.
She's like a foot away from the window, throws it out the window. Her arm is probably out of the window, and she's like, oops, look what I did.
Blinky doesn't care. He's going to kill her later. He's...
Oh, yeah. So then Perry White calls the police because Clark understands the message, because he's probably the only one who knew that she had a run-in with the criminal dude. But so he flies in as Superman, saves the day. Lois is very excited and unconcerned. And then Superman wraps a lamp around him and makes him sit down on the couch.
That's a good prop. It looked like a regular lamp. I never doubted it. Then he picked it up and used it as a prop.
Yeah. Superman says he's got an important date. He's going to go visit that school that's going to pimp out the stamps. So he flies out the window. What should have happened was Blinky stand up and walk out the door.
It's not like Blinky is unconscious. He's a little restrained, but
he's got a 10-pound lamp wrapped around his arms.
This is government
writing. He might
look
ridiculous going down the hallway, but I feel like he had options here. Because Superman just left Lois with him.
Government writing, man. Come on.
He left Lois with him.
That happens in a lot of these shorts, so regular episodes, weird stuff like that.
And that's then Superman gives a speech to the children about they should support Uncle Sam the American way, buy the stamps, get rich. Not quick, but get rich. And one day they can be super like Superman.
You won't have to rob banks and feel bad about it.
What if you rob banks and don't feel bad about it?
Well, Blinky didn't. He only faked feeling bad about it. Was Blinky working for somebody? Because he wasn't going to kill Lois until he got the call about something. And I forget who he talked to.
I think it was his travel arrangements. I think he needed to get his travel arrangements lined up. So he needed a meat shield until then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this film, what are you going to call it? I guess was featured on an episode of Riff Tracks, where they had the Mystery Science Theater 3000 crew do a reunion show. So
is this public domain?
Yeah. Stamp Day for Superman is public domain because it was produced by the government.
All right. Huh.
Or for the government, I should say.
Well, because, there's a lot of cartoons that were produced for the military by Disney, Warner Brothers, or whatever, but Disney and Warner Brothers maintained respective copyrights and trademarks.
Well, I think this was financed by the government. So I think the difference be, they were asking people to support the cause to make their propaganda cartoons, but they're still being profitable for the companies making them.
All right.
this would have not been sold. This would have just been shown in schools. So
Sure.
And as an episode of Superman, it would actually work. You might have to downplay a little bit of the stamp stuff, but not much.
It's a solid half-hour bit. I don't know where you'd put your commercial breaks in, but it's on tone with the series for the most part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I guess we have to rank this on stamps. I don't know of another way to do it.
Yep.
And I'll give it...
Let me go first.
Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
I'll give it 3 stamps out of 5.
Not quite a complete book then, huh?
Nope.
I'm going to give it 5.
Woo! You and your George Reeves love affair. Man, I tell you what.
Hey, not only that, but I absolutely love Lois and Blinky's correspondence in the apartment. It's hilarious.
She's the goat of Lois Lane's, and she's got the perfect partner to play off in this one. It's good.
I mean, I just think the script is great. Jimmy's amazing with his little typewriter purse, and then Perry White goes off on him, and then Clark is like, I kind of lost you there at the end there, but okay.
Perry White does get a nice little thing to do there, yeah. It didn't make me want to buy stamps. It did not make me nostalgic for the era of buying stamps so I could get war bonds. I just said, I'm glad I got the bonds straight up. That's the way I looked at this.
Well, I had to look up to see what these stamps even were. So that part, it's just not going to hit us. We'd have to come up with a different analogy, I think.
Is it legal to cut a government stamp in half, or would I be committing a felony? Because I can give it 3.5 stamps, but I just don't want to violate United States law.
Well, they've ended the stamp program, so you can't turn them in anymore. So I think they're just collectibles at this point. So feel free to do it 3.5.
I'll give it 3.5 stamps, then I'll rip one up right across the nose of Elvis, or whatever it is.
No.
The only time I was really excited about the post office doing stamps was probably the late 80s, when for some reason they got a deal with the Smithsonian to do very cool-looking dinosaur stamps. And for some reason that was a big deal. Probably only like 4 of them, but they put dinosaurs on stamps. And to little me, that was a big event.
Stamps, to me, I just never got into them.
Who would?
It was almost like, well, people that are older.
If you grew up in the 50s, I guess you were into stamps.
The people who collect stamps are the people who threw away all those comic book collections.
Oh, Lord have mercy on them. Man, that's rough right there.
Like, you don't hear about stamp collections getting thrown out. No, it was the parents were collecting stamps and throwing out the kids' comics.
Idiots. Fools.
Well, 5-star stamps for Superman. That's what I say.
Dun dun dun, super stamp. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, it reminded me again. As okay as I was with Kirk Allen or whatever his name was, boy, George Reeves he's just entirely better somehow in every aspect of this.
Oh yeah. All right, well that was Steel and Stamp Day for Superman.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What a pairing.
Speaking of George Reeves, I think we're doing the George Reeves movie next week, aren't we?
Well, I don't know. Did you want to do the musical or did you want to do Hollywood Land, a downer of a drama?
Well, I want to do both. I don't know if I want to do it the same week.
Do you have the means? I think the Broadway thing, I think it's on YouTube or Internet Archive. I've got access to what I think is a DVD and a Vudu copy of Hollywood Land, but is that something you had means to watch?
Oh, I got Vudu.
Okay.
I don't know if it's on Max, but I'll get access to that one.
All right. Yeah. Adrian Brody, I think, is the star.
Yeah.
And who plays George Reeves? Is it Affleck? Ben Affleck or something plays George Reeves?
Yeah. Yep, he played Batman and Superman.
How many people can say that?
Well, I don't know if he can technically say that, but he can say he played Batman and the guy who played Superman. So,
but he puts the suit on. At some point, he also plays Superman.
Hey, let's be real. I would rather play George Reeves than Clark Kent. Because if I play George Reeves, I get to play the best Clark Kent.
All right.
At least one of the top 2. We'll say that. All right. Well, I think that's it. Everybody go collect your stamps, collect your comic books.
I would like to close by reading an excerpt from the back of the Steel DVD. You all be cool. The good guy, hero, tells 2 crime victims he rescues there'll be a lot of thrilling before Steel himself can start chilling. Poetry. Ought to be a rap song right there.
We'll work on that. Thanks, everybody.
Good evening.